Welcome to episode 16, 2026 World Baseball Classic recap. This is part 5. If you missed the other 4 parts, go watch them because I recapped every single pool in each of those 4 parts respectfully. This is part 5, as I said, and it is the quarterfinals, so all 4 quarterfinal matchups. I'll tell you who's moving on to semifinal matchups afterwards. And then we will look at the top performers of every game, and I will make predictions as to who wins what in the semifinals and finals, which will be the 6th and final part of our 2026 World Baseball Classic recap here on Warning Track Power. And if you enjoy what I'm doing, please leave a like and subscribe because I like to think that I'm helping you not have to watch the highlight reels of every single game. One video, a lot better than 4 in this case, or 10, or 20, or 30, or 40, etc., etc. Let's get going. So the first quarterfinal game that was played was between the Dominican Republic, the powerhouse that is having more fun than anybody else in the world, and South Korea, but in this case they just call themselves Korea because, well, obvious reasons. The Dominican Republic has been one of the best offenses ever in this tournament. And this game only needed 7 innings. They mercied Team Korea in 7, 10-0. You're telling me that this Dominican Republic team can go out, they can score 5 runs in the first like they did, and then throw Christopher Sanchez as a starting pitcher. He went 5 innings, no earned runs, only gave up 2 hits, 8 strikeouts, and the win on the mound for him. Yeah, like it is crazy. He has been very good for them in this tournament. 2 wins on the mound is pretty good. The unfortunate reality is he likely will not be able to pitch that finals game. I don't know exactly how much the pitching rules kind of impact that, but also for the Dominican Republic, Austin Wells, who is somehow playing for that team, I don't understand, but 1-for-1 with a homer, which was a 3-run homer. And Junior Caminero went 2-for-2 with an RBI and a double, thus propelling the Dominican Republic to 10-0 win over Korea. And to be honest, they're moving on, and because they won their pool, they have a good chance of being the home team in the semifinals. They went 4-0 for a reason in their pool. They're 1-0 in bracket play for a reason. This offense is electric. And Christopher Sanchez is one of the best pitchers in the National League, I think, for this year. So the next quarterfinal game I want to talk about is USA versus Canada. The U.S. took down Canada 5-3. This was the only year that Canada and the U.S. were not in the same pool. And then they face off in the quarterfinals, and USA beats them. Logan Webb got the win on the mound. He threw 4.2 innings, struck out 5. No earned runs for Logan Webb. But I do want to shout out Bo Naylor because Canada did start to make their comeback once Webb came out of the game. Bo Naylor went 2-for-4 with a homer. They just came up 2 runs short. Mason Miller came in and closed that game down. It was a fun one to watch. Moving on to Puerto Rico versus Italy, and the espresso machine needs to be checked for something because Italy wins 8-6 over Puerto Rico and moves on to the semifinals. Not only have they never made the quarterfinals before, they've never advanced out of pool play before in this tournament's history. They are now in the semifinals. Dylan DeLucia, 4 innings on the mound, 2 hits, no earned runs, 3 strikeouts. Obviously, Vinny Pasquantino, the inventor of the espresso machine in this dugout for Italy, 1-for-3 with an RBI, 2 stolen bases, and 2 walks. I do want to shout out Willie Castro hitting a home run for Puerto Rico. That was the biggest swing of the game for them. And I also do want to shout out the fact that they kind of rallied. It was 4 unanswered runs for Puerto Rico at the end of the game. Italy entered, I believe it was like the 5th or 6th inning with an 8-2 lead, and the game ended 8-6. But Italy is going on a miraculous run, and I am starting to think that Italy is actually better at baseball than they are at soccer, which shouldn't be possible because they're Italy and they're not supposed to play baseball. You can ask my father about that. He'll tell you everything. But regardless, I'm Italian, so it's fine. The final quarterfinal game that we are going to talk about is the reigning champion Japan taking on Venezuela. And as Joe Davis would say, to beat the champs, you gotta knock them out. And Venezuela did that. 8-5, they win over Japan, something the Blue Jays could not do against the Dodgers. Top performers in that game, Ezekiel Tovar went 3 for 4, hit 2 doubles, stole a base, and scored 3 times. And Wilyer Abreu had the biggest swing of the game for Venezuela with a 3-run home run on his 1 for 3 day. That was crazy. His bat went into the troposphere. And Michael Garcia went 2 for 4 with a home run and a double, 2 RBIs for Venezuela. However, I would like to shout out 2 guys on Team Japan. Obviously, Japan got beat in this game, but they at least put up a fight. Shohei Ohtani 1 for 4 with a home run and an RBI, and Shota Morishita, who came in as a pinch hitter for Seiya Suzuki. Please don't get hurt. You're on my fantasy team. He went 1 for 3 with a 3-run home run for Japan in his first at-bat of the game. So let's just say they made the right decision at that point. But Venezuela beats Japan. So the semifinal matchups now, the USA is going to take on the Dominican Republic, and that game is going to be crazy. US needs their bats to wake up. It is supposed to be Paul Skeens versus Luis Severino. And to be honest, I think you feel rather comfortable if you're the US. If you leave with a 5-run lead after Skeens exits, I think you're doing pretty good. But then again, someone is going to have to come out of that bullpen and shove because this Dominican Republic offense can erase a deficit at once. They are such a good offense. As for Venezuela, they will be taking on Team Italy in the semifinals. The projected starters here are Keider Montero for Venezuela and Michael Lorenzen, who carved up USA for his lone pitching appearance of the tournament so far. Montero was good too. This is going to be a good game, I think, to watch. It's going to be really fun. Italy is riding with the most momentum, I think, in the tournament. They're 5-0. I think they are the most underrated team in this tournament as well. You do, however, look at Venezuela and you see that this team on paper is a lot better than Team Italy is. But Italy's riding the momentum. Venezuela has the star power, but Italy's got the momentum. And I think that's what's going to be enough to push Italy forward. I think that our finals matchup is going to be the Dominican Republic and Venezuela. I think that it really could go either way in both of these matchups. I think we're going to see Dominican Republic versus Venezuela, as I believe that the DR is going to be able to get to whoever comes out of the bullpen for USA. And Venezuela is the better team on paper, even though Italy's got the momentum. Though, if the US bats wake up, I can totally see the USA moving on to the next round. And I can also totally see Italy moving on to the next round. But I'm going to stick with the Dominican Republic versus Venezuela in the finals. And that is going to do it for this episode of Warning Track Power. This was part 5 of episode 16. Stay tuned for part 6. It's going to be the semifinals and final games. And here on Warning Track Power, we are just a few feet short of the fences, but all in on the game. See you next time.